What's up, everybody? Clayton Sayfie here from the Wolverine.com. I have EJ Holland, our recruiting insider, on the phone. He's actually on the road right now, going to see a ton of games here this weekend. We're recording this on Thursday, so he's set to see a game tonight, a couple on Friday, a couple on Saturday. We're going to get into those games, what he's looking for out of those. In all of our premium content from the road, I'll also be at West Bloomfield against Clarkston, seeing Donovan Edwards, Dylan Tatum take on Rocco Spindler, Notre Dame commit. Check out that premium content using promo code BLUE60 at thewolverine.com. 2 months free of our premium content. What's up, BJ? How's the road?
It's going all right. Just realized the rental car company gave me the car with less than a quarter tank, so I have to pull over and get some gas. But otherwise, I'm good. Just got the get out to make a pit stop, getting out there early. I'm gonna check out Rod Moore at practice and just catch up with him before I head out to see mammoth 300-pound defensive tackle target Derek Shepard in the 2022 class. So on the road to Dayton right now.
So he's in the state of Ohio, enemy territory for Michigan fans there. But let's get into some of this week's topics. And it's been kind of slow. I think there was optimism towards the end of next week, and you've been reporting this for a while, that George Rooks has been nearing a decision. Rivals 250, strong side defensive end, could play defensive tackle at Michigan or wherever he goes. And then there was also optimism that he would choose Michigan, that he was going to decide and that he would choose Michigan, would maybe be the favorite there slightly over teams like Penn State. EJ, you saw him a few weeks ago now, out on the East Coast, and there was optimism there, like I mentioned. Seems like now he's trending to Penn State. What's the difference between, what has happened, I guess, since you saw him a few weeks ago and now, when now it looks like the Nittany Lions are a major player here?
Yeah, I think George Rooks has always been a weird recruitment. I would say it's still, a 50-50 battle at this time. Honestly, I think George Rooks is just going to balk and not make a decision and just continue to delay it, a la Drew Kendall. There's a reason a couple weeks ago after my trip, I actually said this kid is a lot like Drew Kendall from a personality standpoint. And here we go. 2 weeks later, he's delaying his decision exactly like Drew Kendall. So I know coaching staffs, not just at Michigan, but elsewhere, that have been recruiting him, have had a really tough time communicating with him. He's a quiet kid. He's extremely introverted. He's really hard to get to know. His father seems like the exact same way. So I think it's just a tough recruitment to get a true read on. Now, Michigan was the heavy favorite early on. I actually think I made a future cast pick in favor of the Wolverines back in the spring sometime. And, he's been to Michigan more than any other school. The staff's been on him for the longest out of, the finalists remaining. And his sister played basketball at Michigan as well. So considering all those ties, it seemed like Michigan was the clear front runner there. Penn State started to make a bit of a surge. I started reporting that, in the summer, and then they've just really come on strong. He took a self-guided tour there during the dead period, and I just think he really, really likes Penn State, and he's torn between both schools at this time. I think it's disappointing from a Michigan standpoint to let a lead slip like that. I think, if you're Sean Nua, you have to close with Rooks, considering the ties, considering that you've had that relationship longer than Penn State, to allow Penn State to swoop in here late and win this recruitment at a position of need for a kid you've been recruiting longer than they have, that you've gotten on campus more often than they have, would be extremely disappointing.
Yeah, so let's say Penn State does have the slight lead now. How much time does Michigan have to make up that ground? I mean, Drew Kendall has been now, kind of off the radar here for a few weeks now. He still hasn't actually committed anywhere. Is George Rooks going to still commit semi-soon, even though he's delayed it a little bit? Or are we still looking at kind of the long term, and maybe Sean Nua and Michigan do have some time to make up that ground.
Well, the last day he has to commit before his season starts is tomorrow afternoon because his season starts tomorrow night. So he's always said, if I make a decision, it's going to be before the season. And then if I don't make a decision, it's not going to be until after his season, which I think New Jersey goes all the way up until after Thanksgiving, maybe into early December. I mean, this is a guy that if he doesn't decide tomorrow, we might run into a Drew Kendall situation where he just continues to push it back. I don't believe he's an early enrollee as of now. I mean, if he doesn't sign during the early period, we could be waiting here until February for a decision. Drew Kendall said the same thing in April, May, June, July, August, September. It's October already. We haven't heard anything from Drew Kendall as far as a decision. And I think Rooks could go the same way if he doesn't pull the trigger on Friday. It's just their personalities are exactly the same. They should link up and have some lunch because they're pretty similar.
Yeah, so it's crazy twists and turns, but that's the nature of recruiting here. So we'll keep an eye on Rooks, continuing to monitor that situation. I know, EJ, you've been all over it. Again, head over to thewolverine.com for that coverage. EJ, you talked a little bit about your trip. Obviously, you're on the road. That's why we don't see EJ here on the show, but glad to have him on. Talk a little bit more about your trip. You're seeing 5 games, like I mentioned at the top, and you're in Ohio here tonight. We're going to actually have lunch with our whole staff up in Ann Arbor tomorrow, and then we'll all be on the road. Austin Fox, myself, and EJ for Friday, and then EJ's got game Saturday, of course, because he's about that grind. EJ, tell us 3 key things you're looking for this weekend out of the recruits you're seeing, what you want to see out of them, and what you're excited about, honestly, to see some of these guys. I know you're pumped to see Dante Moore, 2023 quarterback from Detroit King once again after you saw him a couple weeks ago, and kind of an intriguing prospect there. Might just be one of the best quarterbacks in the country in that class.
Yeah, so I mean, we can go ahead and start there. I'm actually, on Friday going to see Will Johnson, who we'll get to here in a second. But I wanted to make it a point to go out and see Dante Moore again. His game starts at 5 p.m., so it gives me about an hour and 20 minutes to see him. So I should be able to see the entire first half of his game. And I'm really excited to get a second look. I saw him last year as a freshman starter. This year, I think that he's progressed even more. And he had a really good game against Cass Tech in a loss despite facing constant pressure. I mean, he made some elite level throws. He has tremendous arm talent. I'm really excited about what he brings to the table from an overall standpoint. And, I didn't really get to see the mobility. He didn't really run around, which was a good thing. I mean, he stood in the pocket and delivered some pinpoint passes. At the same time, he showed escapability by being mobile to his left and to his right, rolling out. He made some of his best throws on the run. So definitely flashed some athleticism, looked the part as a passer. So really excited to get another look at Dante Moore. Like I said, Will Johnson will be the game that will be the prospect that I see after Dante Moore. Really excited to see him as well. I've seen Will a couple of times, in the off season, but this will be the first time I actually get to see him doing something truly competitive in a couple of years. I actually saw Will Johnson when he was a freshman at a 7-on-7 tournament in Atlanta while I was still covering Texas, and he immediately popped out to me, and I tweeted about him and everything. Texas doesn't really recruit in Detroit, but I was so impressed with him that I decided to, tweet out about him. I was like, this kid's going to be a national recruit, and he is obviously a very top target for Michigan, and excited to see him in a competitive setting. I've been extremely high on him. Obviously, I've said that he's no-brainer 5-star. So I think that Will is I have no doubt that Will is going to impress me. So I'm really excited to see him, as many positive things as I've written about him. So that's the second thing that I'm looking for. And then the Third thing, I would say Tommy Doman, man. We just don't talk about him a ton just because he's a specialist guy, but he's elite at what he does. I mean, it's hard. You'd be hard pressed to find a better puncher than Tommy. So excited to see him in game. It's always weird to evaluate specialists just because they don't come around too often. But he impressed me in his training session from a punting standpoint. Excited to see him, kick, see what his range is. From a field goal standpoint, I feel like specialists are obviously undervalued, but they can win you games. And so, again, Tommy is the best at what he does. So really interested to get a look at him in game and what should be a really good game between St. Mary's and Brother Rice.
Yeah. And you mentioned his punting. Did you see his 53-yard field goal that would have been good from 60 that he hit last week?
Yeah, which was funny because in his training session, I don't know if he was just tired from doing all the camps, but he didn't really show, super long distance from field goal kicking. He actually did a series of 50-yarders and he fell short on a couple of them. So it was good to see him just completely demolish that kick.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be a weapon. I mean, I actually tweeted that out on Monday, the clip of his 53-yarder, because rightfully so, we had all this hype around the Junior Colson versus J.J. McCarthy and Greg Crippen game, but Tommy Doman was out doing his thing as well. You got to give him props for that, but it'll be interesting. I'll be on the road to see West Bloomfield against Clarkston, so we'll be seeing Donovan Edwards, who is really the holy grail of Michigan football recruiting in 2021 in that class as it winds down. Dylan Tatum, 2022 athlete. They like him at corner. They like him at running back. I mean, this kid is a really, really fluid athlete, and I compared him to Miles Rouser, who is a high four-star out of Belleville, who I saw last week. And, man, I think Dylan Tatum is the much more impressive athlete. They're going to play different positions probably. Dylan could play some corner, but, I mean, Miles Rouser's a safety. Still impressed, but I'm excited to get out to that game, man. See those guys go up against Rocco Spindler, who is a Notre Dame commit on the offensive line, Garrett Dellinger, LSU commit on the offensive line. So that'll be the game of the week. I think that's on Fox Sports Detroit at 7:30 here Friday night. So I'm excited for that. EJ, anything else here from the road? Did you stop off for gas?
I pulled into a Starbucks parking lot, so going to get some food really quick and then make my way to the gas station across the street so I don't get stranded. So you can follow me on Twitter at EJHolland_TW for some videos of the games I'll be at, and you can obviously follow our Wolverine account at the Wolverine Mag for a ton of updates, including Clayton and Austin's, who will also be on the road.
Absolutely. Well, there you have it. That's the Wolverine Recruiting Show for this week. We will talk to everybody next week. We'll get the update early in the week on our travels and, who impressed us over the weekend from checking out some recruits. Clayton, Sayfie, EJ, Holland here. EJ, thanks for calling in. Remember to check out Blue 60, our promo code over at thewolverine.com for 2 months for free of our premium coverage. We'll talk to everybody next time.